And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Welcome back to my channel, Michaela Loves Gymnastics. And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a surprise bonus episode, a bonus podcast this week. Episode of the Loves Gymnastics Network, featuring me and Oscar. Um,
Hey.
and today we are going to recap the 2007 World Gymnastics Championship, the team finals and qualification. We will talk about all around and event finals at another point in time. Also, this will not be no damn 5 hour podcast. I'm trying to keep this show at an hour and a half, but we'll see where the conversation leads us. Um,
Are the
um,
viewers asking for 5-hour shows? Is it in high demand?
they seem to really enjoy when we are on for a very long time. I don't know if it's high demand, but the
Definitely.
longer we are on, the more views those shows get. So, um,
The more delirious, the more entertaining.
period. So today we are going to recap the 2007 World Gymnastics Championships. Um, I wish I had. Oh, I just had a whole bunch of energy, and I just tried to do something, you guys, and my energy just went to shit. So let me try to gain it back. So before we start, I wanted to go into the new year in 2025 on a good positive note. So I decided to end 2024 with an apology tour. Now you can take this apology or you cannot. You can think I'm genuine or you can think I'm not. I really don't care how you decide to take these apologies. I know it's on my heart to say what I'm going to say. And with that being said, I'm going to get some water. I'm going to hit my vape pen and we're going to get it started. Oscar, talk to the children for a second.
Okay. I'm curious to know what inspired Michaela to want to talk about 2007 Worlds today. A bit random at first glance, but I'm sure there's an interesting answer. I think there were a lot of NC2A, like inter-squad meets, where they didn't compete against other schools. That happened this week. A lot of big schools, competitive schools. Not everyone looked really sharp across their whole team, but I guess that's to be expected. But also, I feel like I had expectations that there would be more teams who did look like they had, like a surplus of ready to go routines. And I feel like the the scenario for most of the teams was like one or two of those, if that, and then a bunch of routines that like had potential, but the execution wasn't there yet. I think Florida went, OU went. I heard they had one. Um, LSU, I think Shayna went to that in person, so I'm gonna hope that she'll tell us a bit about how that was, how they looked in person, because that's a totally different deal than watching them on TV.
That's for Saturday's show when we talk about NCAA.
Were there other teams that had their 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 meets? Arkansas had one, Jocelyn Robertson.
Michigan.
I guess Oregon must have, right? Because, or was that Jake Carey doing that double layout in training?
It was in training and at their inter squad.
And that double layout looks sharp, but I didn't see the rest of the routine.
We didn't need to do anything else but the double layout. That's all we care about.
Mm, there was like an announcement this week that made me really happy, or maybe that's an overstatement. Like, this is something that should have
Always been.
always been exactly the FIG change. I think it's official that they've accepted the proposal that was
Mm-hmm.
submitted to allow 4 WAGs and 6 MAGs per team or per country,
Mm-hmm.
up from I don't know how many MAGs it was before, but it was only 3 WAGs before. And
At this world, it was
those
supposed to be
worlds,
three,
3 and what?
3 and 3.
3 and 3, that's severe.
I know. That's
What?
why they.
How can they justify it? Why not 6 WAGs? Hello. Okay, a bit arbitrary.
I guess the justification is only three per people. Only people per team could make event finals. So why bring more people?
Would for the mags, for the men, would you rather have, let's say, like 3 spots, but all 3 have to be um specialists, or all 3 are all rounders?
And I think that was the great dilemma that why they raised it. But
It's so different for
oh,
different
and that was the
teams.
other gap. Correct, and that was the other gap for this world that they were supposed to only have one person per event final per country. So it's one American person who made
Oh,
the all around. One American person. Yes, and they changed that
that's
back to the two per.
wow, that slipped past me. Or if I knew that, I forgot. So now it's back to 2 per country for all the finals?
Correct.
Okay, do you think the FIG is being like a little spineless? Like, you had the nerve to do this weird change? Or are we just happy that it happened?
I'm just happy that it happened because one of the things with gymnastics that's hard as a gymnastics fan is this borderline between wanting difficulty and wanting the top teams to always be there, and then wanting diversity in different teams, right? And I understand that different teams will never rise in the rankings if you do not allow them to come to these world championships and world cups and stuff like that. But
Were they also limiting the countries that could go, even though it's a Worlds after the Olympics?
no, I think they were doing it in hopes of different countries being able to win medals that they wouldn't have won because only one American can be making an event final. Only one Chinese person can make an event final. The Russians are still banned. I think that's what they were going for. It just
But see, that's 2 pretty radical changes. Not only the per country limit, but also the changing the size of the team. Like, why not have th either 3 gymnasts on the team, but 2 per country rule, or back to 4 and 1 per country? Doesn't have to be 2 different big changes.
hell. Why not just have a full world championships after the Olympics like they used to have?
Have they ever had a? They had a bunch of world championships where it was 7 up. Or 7 on the team and 6 up, 5 count?
Just in between 93 and 96.
That never was the case. And it was always a 5-person team on the, or it was a smaller team in the 80s.
It was always a 6-person team up until 96. Then it was a 7-person team. Then it went back to a 6-person team up until 2012 when it went down to a 5-person team.
Oh my gosh, you have that so down. So did it ever happen at Worlds or just in 96 at the Olympics?
In 93, they did not do a full Worlds.
So they
Didn't
never
they?
had a Worlds with 7
Hold
on
on,
the
hold on,
team?
hold on. Let me answer the question. In 94, yes, it was 7 per people on that team. In 95, it was also, yes, 7. So 94 and 95 Worlds, there were 7 members to the team.
Can you do all the locations for those Worlds?
94, they had 2 different Worlds. One was in
Dortmund, I think. Like Hungary or Bulgaria, I think. I think that was the team one.
the team one was in I don't know, I have Rotterdam in my mind.
What about, let's start with 93. Was that Brisbane?
That was in Brisbane. No.
Or was it Birmingham?
93 was Birmingham, England. 94, the individual world was in Brisbane, Australia. The team world was in, I think, Rotterdam,
Let me
the
check,
Netherlands.
because I could be wrong.
I think it was somewhere in the Netherlands, and it was very strange that they would have 2 separate worlds so far apart.
The team, they were held in Dortmund, Germany.
Yeah,
Not Hungary. Sorry.
and then 95 was
Sabai.
Sabai, Japan.
Those were
And
all great
90,
worlds. Oh,
90
96 too, yeah.
they had a 96 worlds, and that was also an individual world. So they had 2 individual worlds that year. But
Where
in
was
90,
96? Was it Paris?
no, it was in Puerto Rico.
Oh yeah, was it San Juan?
hmm In that world, it was just event finals. There was no all around nor no team.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you the podiums at that world.
Oh, I could.
Do you know all the podiums at that worlds and at 92 worlds?
No, not at 92, but 96. I possibly could.
That's impressive. So how did we start talking about this quad though?
Oh, wait, let's start with the apology tour because that's how I want to start. So I wanted to go into 2025 with no beef with anybody on the Gymternet, no beef with any gymnastics podcast, no beef with any blogs, because I feel like the Olympics is coming up and we should all, at least in some kind of way, shape, or form, be working together to try to cover our home Olympics to the best possibility of our abilities. Now, I know this is not going to work because it never works, but I'm just going to sit up there and say there are some people that I feel like I need to apologize to, either through the Loves Gymnastics podcast or the end of the Loves Gymnastics podcast when I was upset with everybody and I was just setting fire to the rain. And, I just want to apologize to certain people. I want to first off start with the Half In, Half Out podcast. I want to apologize to them. How am I, a trans person, going to sit up here and let addicts misgender you as many times and as hard as he did, and he was relentless with it. And I just should be ashamed, and I do apologize. I can understand if you never want to fuck with me again or never want to talk to me again. I completely understand. But just understand, I do understand that I was dead ass wrong, and I apologize to the Half In Half Out podcast. Um, I want to apologize to.
Can I say something about the half in,
Yeah,
half
go
out?
ahead. Go ahead.
I wish that the half in, half out would re-release um their episode that they
Episode
did
with
with
me in it.
Michaela, because I just know it's super juicy and entertaining for all the good and right reasons. Talking about NCAA or the classics. I think it was 2022 or 23.
It was
But
2023 classics. Yeah.
re-release her. The people should have access to this great journalism, this great conversation. Do the right thing.
Or don't. I don't blame you. I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Trust me.
No,
I understand.
no, that was me as a fan. Oscar,
Yes, and you know the
gymnastics
fans,
saves lives.
and if the fans want it, and if they ask you guys, that's them. I don't expect nothing from this apology other than I just want, especially you, Blake. I just want you to understand that I understand how fucked up that was. Like there's no two ways about it. I completely understand how fucked up it was. I completely understand how fucked up my participation in that was, especially how kind and how loving you two were to me. Um, when I first joined Gym Twitter. So I just want to apologize from the deepest bottomless pits of my heart. I do. I thoroughly mean that for real, for real. Like I do apologize. Um, I also want to apologize to. I want to apologize to Catherine. Catherine, what's her last name?
I don't know actually. I
Exactly.
also know a bunch of Catherines. Which Catherine?
At its co-host.
Oh, I don't know her name. Her last name.
I want to apologize to Catherine. I think it's Crimes or See, now I'm for this sound like I'm being shady. Okay, I'm so sorry. I want to apologize to Catherine because a couple months ago, I said I was apologizing to addicts, and I said that I disliked you and I could not stand you, and that's just not the truth. The truth of the matter is, I was hurt. I feel like you stole my gymnastics husband, and I was just lashing out. But I do not have anything against you whatsoever. I think you are very smart. I think you are very talented. You research things in a way, shape, and form that I never want to or could ever do. Um, you're able to word and enunciate and put to to the social media spaces the accounts and the stories that I just could never do. And you are a very talented individual. And I just want to say that I am thoroughly sorry for coming at you the way I did for no apparent reason whatsoever. I that was just so ill of me and so little of me. So I just want to apologize to you, Catherine. Um, let's see who else. Um,
Lots of apologies to be made today.
not that many, but it's a couple of more. It's a couple of more. I want to apologize to Dr. Starsky. I want to. Is that his name?
Mm, I know who. Yeah, I think I know who that is. Yeah.
I want to apologize to Dr. Starsky. You are absolutely right about what you were saying about that other person. I don't understand why I was so deep in the field with that other person at that time. I guess me as an individual. I say this all the time. If you want to correct me, it's much easier to do it with sugar than with vinegar. Like I love to be tapped on the shoulder, but what I don't like to do is be like threatened and pressured. But I will say this. I will say this. I have to understand that I'm trying to build a platform other than just being a regular gymnastics person. I do have a slight voice in this gymnastics community, and I need to use my slight voice in this gymnastics community for a lot better. And I have to just because I find people entertaining, that doesn't mean I need to give them a platform to spew what they're spewing. They can create their own platform. They have their own platform. I'm not talking about any individual people. When y'all go back and slice this up and run back to Langston, I'm not talking about you, girl. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about just individually anybody. I just don't need to be giving people platforms like that. Like people, one of the things I have to realize is one of the legacy of We Love Gymnastics was people could get on and say whatever the hell they want to say about whoever the hell they want to say about it. That's not the show that I'm running over here. You just not gonna be messy for no reason. Like there's always a reason to be messy. If I could justify the messiness, then that's good. But we're just not trying to spew hate and evil for no reason. And I do want to apologize to you, sir. You were 100% right, and I don't know.
Wait, but does this change your feelings about people tagging you for other people's
Hell no.
behavior?
Hell no. Hell no. Hell no. Hell no. But I will acknowledge that during that time, I had blinders on to what other people was doing. The same thing with other people. I just, when I like people, I don't care what you're doing as long as you're not doing it to me. I don't care. But then when they start doing it to me, then I want to add, and that's just not right. So I just want to apologize. Want to
Right.
apologize.
That's big of you.
Um, who else? I'm trying to think of who else I should have. Okay, I apologized to Addis before, but I guess I can apologize to him again. I love you, brother. Hi,
Any
Addis.
gymnasts?
Uh, mm. Maybe I apologize to. I apologize to the entire organization of Fitz University. I understand that you guys don't like me because I feel like I'm very messy or whatever. But I promise you all, I was not trying to be messy in that situation. Actually, it happened, whatever. But I just really want to apologize. I made an apology video, and you all think that apology video is messy. So I do apologize to Fitz University about the whole bullying of the coaches and stuff. And I have to understand that if the coaches and the athletes themselves aren't willing to talk about certain things, then I should not be the one to want to jump on these stories. If nobody else want to talk about it, why the hell should I? So I want to apologize to Fisk University. Um, I want to apologize to the damn International Gymnastics Magazine. You know, I should have took it as an honor that you all actually was paying me attention and just, bringing up the subjects on y'all larger platform that I started. But no, I had to be like, why is they copying me? Why is they copying? Like, nah, that y'all.
Wow.
I should be. I should have been. I should have been thankful. I should have been grateful. I should have been wow. Like, yay! Like, look at my voice in the community. That this damn big ass organization is actually listening to what the hell I say and actually is bringing these conversations up. Like, I took that as the very wrong way, and I do apologize to the
And what
International Gymnastics
inspired
Magazine.
your change of heart?
I don't want no smoke with anybody in 2025.
What
But
what
no, I should have.
what helped you come to that realization for all these apologies?
Well, especially with International Gymnastics Magazine, I have to realize how big of an organ. Like, I sh- I need to stop shooting myself in the foot. Like, I have to always stop. Like, I have to stop looking at things that the gymnastics community do in the same light as the gay community. Whereas I'm always thinking somebody's trying to do something bad to me or do something negative to me, where a lot of the times, the gymnastics community is small. So, if I see something on damn Gymcastics that's interesting, I might also decide to talk about it. It's not me stealing their conversation, it's inspiration. And I should have always taken it
Yeah.
as, wow, I'm inspiring the International Gymnastics Magazine. Instead of, cussing them out like I did, I do apologize, International Gymnastics Magazine. Please, you're more than welcome to talk about anything that I ever talk about. I'm never going to say you're stealing my ideas because you're not, because that's just was stupid. I do apologize once again from the bottom of my heart. And I hope that you take that fully, that apology deeply.
So diplomatic, so caring, um, such a holiday spirit. Did you like change your did you feel this way last night, this morning? It's the end of the year. I should make amends. I should right my wrongs.
I don't know. It just came like literally when I was like, oh, hold on. This idea came to me. So I don't know. Who else? Oh, maybe I can apologize to Savannah. Is that her name? No. Anyways, the girl from LSU who did the double front with a half, who's a lesbian, who transferred to Florida, who was supposed to be on the show with me and Addis, but then canceled at the last minute because she found out who me and Addis really was, or Florida told her not to, or LSU told her not to. However the case was, I shouldn't have taken it the way I took it, and I do apologize. Connor McClain, I apologize for always coming for you, girl. I love you. I love you. I just want you to know that I love you, and I'm a fan. It's just my friend Nisha always is coming for me about you, girl. So I have to let her know. I have to let her know. But I'm going to start letting her know without putting you in it. I do apologize, Connor McClain. Um, um,
Becky Downey?
I will never. Um, okay, I will apologize. You know what? No. Grinch, go away. I apologize to you, Becky Johnny. I am a fan of yours, girl. I do love you, and I have been watching you for a very, 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 very long time. Watching this 2007 World Championships made me realize, wow, this was your first World Championships, girl. And you was up here doing your Chinko double twist ball and carrying on.
It was
But
such a good ball in the team final too.
it was, and I do apologize. Um, but I do think you would be a wonderful coach for the GBT association. But you know, things come in due time. You said you want to keep going to LA, so let's see. Let's go for it, Becky Downey. Let's go for it.
Why do you think coaches like do you think Becky would be more of like a spotting coach or like administrative or maybe making the decisions? And why don't like Chelsea and Alicia spot the gymnasts? It's just different responsibilities.
Period.
Okay.
Have you ever seen Marta Caroli spot anybody?
No, not really. No. But Bella got to spot and make decisions for the team.
But Bella was a true.
He was the last man to be the head of the USA. Oh
No, he
no.
wasn't.
No, he wasn't. I just forgot about those flops.
Oops.
Those other flops.
I can sit up here and say, in hindsight, I can apologize to what's his name?
No, he doesn't deserve an apology. Neither of them.
He does.
Because one mistreated Vanessa Atler and Ohashi, and one mistreated Shilese Jones and Morgan Hurd.
Okay, well, with those points being said, fuck you, bitch. You ain't getting no apology from me either. Maggie Haney, I'm not sure yet. The more I look into this, the more I'm not on your side. I'm not on your side at all, but
She was made an example of, right?
correct. I do think you
But
were
I'm not
made.
on her side.
I'm not on your side. I'm not on your side. It's just I don't think in the great scheme of things what you've done, I'm not gonna say it wasn't that bad. It was that bad. But I will say, at least with you, you had those parents' permission to do these things, and these parents can go back and
Couldn't we say that like there are stories, there's precedent of those things happening, and those there being a different outcome, where the coach didn't get in trouble?
and that's I also feel like if Maggie Haney was a man, this would never have gone as far as if it had gone. I feel like
Like a
Maggie.
coaching ban. Imagine if Valeria or Alfong had like, oh yeah, 2004, I was banned for a year or two, like, but now I'm back.
For doing something that my athlete's parents gave me permission to do. And that's the gag with Maggie Haney. Like, y'all can call her a nasty. You know what? Yeah, I am going to do an apology to Maggie Haney. Maggie Haney, you's a nasty, evil bitch. But, but, Mama, you smart. Mama, you smart. Mama, you said, bitch, I'm finna pull this stunt. And I'm finna make sure this parent understand I'm pulling this stunt. And this parent can go back in time and be like, I didn't understand what I was talking about. Yeah, you might have not understood, bitch, but you damn sure signed this paperwork telling me it was okay. So eat that one, ho. Eat that one. And I'm like, damn, Maggie Haney. Damn. Damn, Maggie Haney. No, damn, Madison Coaching. Was it Madison? No, wrong person. Damn, Roddy McCusker. Damn.
And Riley looked great. Well, it was great to see her performing at Florida's meet.
Okay, I think I'm done with my apologies. Did I apologize to Addis? Addis, I love you. Please be my friend again. I love you. Um, you tell me. Who do you think I need to apologize to people? You throw out a
No,
name.
that's enough for today. That was a lot.
Okay. Blake from Half In Half Out. I really do mean that though. I that was fucked up. If I don't mean no other apology, I mean them all. I mean them all. But I mean that one the most. Like Blake, that's what led. If you going back to answer your question, that's what led up to this apology tour. Is that because I'm just like, how am I
Led up to what?
this apology part of the
No,
show?
but that led up to this. What's that?
That happened like me thinking about, damn, that's fucked up. Like you used to let
Oh,
Addis
you were
miss.
thinking about it recently?
Yeah, I'm like, damn, you used to let Addis call that man all kind of a she's and talk about how is he supposed to be a man and coaching women's history and like just all kind of disgusting, vile shit that you like.
Oh, yikes. Well, you
It was bad.
recognize.
It was, but again, and see, I have to stop doing this again. I'm not even going to do it again. Addis is growing; he can defend himself. But I'm just saying, for me, I do apologize. I apologize, Blake. I apologize. That was extremely fucked up as an individual human being that I would let somebody do that to a trans. Now, I will say this: do I think you were saying things about addicts that was also equally as nasty and dirty that you also know that isn't true? Yes, but do I know that you? Hmm. Huh? I'm. Oh, let me not say too much. Let me not say too much because we were doing good, girl. What I will say is, I don't know what the hell you said to Addis behind the scenes, and I don't know what Addis said to you behind the scenes because I was not involved in those conversations. And so for that, I should have. Of course, I was gonna pick Addis' side because me and Addis was friends at the time, but I should have remained more neutral than I was. I should have not. You're just not gonna misgender trans people in front of me and like think that's cool. And it was a constant theme on those shows, like a constant dig. It was a constant joke. I think I laughed at it a couple of times. Like it was bad, and I do apologize. How am I a black trans woman participating in transphobia to anybody? Like that's just disgusting. And I do once again apologize, and I mean that shit. I apologize. So everybody with that, take your mind off of that, off of the drama, off of the bullshit. Go back in time.
Good luck.
Roll your blunt. Roll your joints up. Take your mind away from 2024. Go back in time. Everybody close their eyes. And woosah. Woosah. Now we're going past 2024 Olympic Games, past the 23 World Championships, past 2022 and 2021. We're going past the COVID years, going past the Simone Biles returning back to the sport of gymnastics. We're going past 2016. We're going past Ali and Gabby's return to gymnastics. We are going past the Michaela Maroney vault heard around the world. We're going past Bridget Salone being the world gymnastics all around champion.
Russia
We are
world
going
champions.
we are going past Nastia and Sean in 2008, and we are landing the year before that. Everybody has landed. Everybody has landed. Let's take off, kids. In 5, 4, 3, 2, story.
Just kidding. Let's go 1 year further back for a second. To the
Actually,
star. The start of
actually,
the open code.
actually, we are gonna go 1 year further back. I'm so sorry. We're gonna go back to 2006, the beginning of the open code. That year, the World Championships. China was the world champions. The Americans came in second place. Um, Chelsea Member tore her shoulder apart and was not really active in 2007 like that. We had a bunch of new people come to the scene, like Shawn Johnson and Samantha Pejic. Um, Shayla Worley, who was, I think, around in '06, but was hurt for the Worlds that year, came back and looked at her best that she's ever looked in 2007. We had gymnasts like Ivana Hong, who turned senior. We had our veterans like Nastia Liukin and Alicia Sacramone. But we had that it girl who had just turned senior, and her name is Shawn Johnson. And Shawn Johnson at 2006, her junior national all around score was higher than any senior that competed that competition. It was higher than Nastia's,
Oh
Chelsea,
wow.
everybody. And
How
I think that's the
embarrassing.
first and only time that's ever happened.
Really? I got it. That's a great thing to look up, to research. But I would be surprised if that's true. I feel like Crystal Uzelac beat the seniors. Don't you think? At least one of those years.
They were still doing the 10.0 system.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, maybe
So Chelsea and Nastia were already dealing with injuries by the time or in 2006.
2006. This is when Nastia destroyed her ankle.
Like when in the season?
It was at Pacific Alliance Championship. She was trying to do a 2.5 twist punch front full,
So
and
in the spring, probably.
yeah, she really like jacked. I mean, she
Or
jacked
yeah, it doesn't matter because she only did bars at Worlds, right? And did she do?
bars and beam. I think she was the beam world champion that year in 2006.
I'm pretty confident she was world champion the other 2 years of the quad, not that year. Because that year I think it was the Ukrainian. I don't think Nastia did beam at that Worlds.
Maybe not because her ankle was like I'm telling y'all, her ankle was jacked
And she
up.
didn't even win bars. Beth Tweddle beat her.
Yeah, but
So I brought the injuries up because so it's not like junior Shawn Johnson was beating a healthy Chelsea and Nastia, or was Chelsea healthy at nationals in 2006?
Chelsea was healthy, but she fell a couple of times. I think she fell on beam both days at national that year. That's why Nastia beat her. I think
Nastia
Nastia
or
fell
Shawn?
on. I think Nastia fell on beam too one of those nights.
Why you think she did beam at nationals but not worlds?
Nastia did all the events at nationals.
Are you talking about Shawn? This is 2006.
I'm talking about Nastia in 2006. Nastia did all the events, but was like struggling really, really badly. Like,
Oh, she did all arounds with her bum ankle.
correct. And then about time she got to Worlds, it was like no.
I'm sorry. I didn't understand. Thank you.
And then her ankle was still jacked up going into 2007 because she did not stop like the doctors told her to do. So her ankle
So
was still.
Marta was like, you're only doing bars at Worlds.
I think she did beam. I don't remember.
Are you surprised in retrospect that Marta wasn't just do bars this season? Or just sit it out? Like, don't do nationals all around?
I think what happened with her ankle is the more she competed on it, the worse it got. So at first, when the injury happened, it wasn't that bad, but because it wasn't that bad, she kept going. And just the more she competed on it, the worse it got.
Right. So do you remember in 2006 at Worlds, which team, that was the first year where you could say before the competition started, after qualifications, on paper, this is the D score comparison between the teams. Do you remember who had the highest D score? Because that would
Probably,
make them like the favorites, right?
probably the Chinese. The Chinese was ahead of the Americans at that point.
Do you think that was a surprise coming from like 2004 in that Athens quad, where, yeah, China had glimpses of potential gold in like qualifications at 2003, let's say, or even we thought they could maybe take gold at 2004 before, like from training.
No, it's because in 2006, like most of the American girls still was doing the Yurchenko 1.5, and they hadn't figured out this new code of points on bars yet. Um, and China was, even though China still in 2006 mostly was doing Yurchenko 1.5, they had Chung Fei who could do her Arminar, and they had a bunch of girls who had like high start values on bars where the Americans didn't.
Right. But funnily enough, isn't it true that that 2016 final where China won gold for the first time was the like competition where they de downgraded Changfei Zaminar to a DTY?
Yeah, I think she only did a DTY. I don't think she did an Arminar that year.
Oh, there was one year where she definitely did a DTY to win the vault title, but there was also a year, it might have been a different one, where she did her Aminar in team finals and they credited her with a DTY even though she didn't fall.
Oh, and maybe that's why she only did a DTY for the rest of the competition.
Yeah, that would make sense. So it wasn't a surprise that out of all the teams in the world, China would be the one going into 2000, the new code with the highest D scores.
Yeah, China really had understood the open code. It was because the Olympics was in China, so they really invested in understanding that shit. Whereas other teams was like
Such a good
lollygag.
point. Right.
While the other teams was like lollygagging still. Like, yeah, I still don't think the Romanians understand the damn bars open code system to this day.
Is it true all the countries that have hosted Olympics since the open code started have improved their program completely from where it was?
China, London, Brazil, yeah, Japan, hell, even France, yeah.
So it's kind of an unfair advantage. We need our favorites to host the Olympics. We need the Olympics in Ukraine.
Well, sadly, that's the only way to get us build a great gymnastics program is for that team to host an Olympics. Didn't seem like the gymnastics happens for that country.
Okay, so in 2007, do you think China had the D advantage again going
I
into
think
the
they
competition?
I think they did. I'm pretty sure they did because Chun-Fei and her Arminar, and they had maybe not.
Should we start the competition? Because I can't remember who China put up on vault besides Chongfei. Was
Okay,
it
so
Yang Yilin and Jiang Yuyuan?
and learn. Then Chun-Fei did her Chinko 2.5 and fell.
Right, she fell. That was so surprising because I hadn't watched in so long.
I don't remember who China's third vaulter was.
Who did they start with? Yang Yilin?
Yes, with her Chinko 1.5.
I think they also put up Jiang Yuyuan. And I don't know if she
That
had a
sounds
one and a
about right.
half or a double.
She was doing a double. That sounds about right. That sounds about right.
She's the one who tried the almond art in
Yes,
Beijing.
yes. And then we had the Americans who had Sam
Qualified in
Paget,
first.
who qualified in first, who started off with Samantha Paget, who had a really good Yurchenko double, almost stuck it. Then we had Shawn Johnson, who was just doing her Yurchenko double at the time. And to close it off, we had Alicia Sacramone, who did one of her best Rudies of her life.
Truly.
And then I think in this world, the format was they just was doing 4 teams did vault, 4 teams did bars, and then they rotated that way. So um the Russians went no. I'm lying. Nope. Because the Russians and the Romanians was on uneven bars.
How did
And
the competition go in 2004, the Olympics that we just recapped? Because the way we recapped it was like everyone on ball, then everyone on bars, everyone on beam.
I think in 2004 they did it. 4 teams went on vault, 4 teams went on bars, and then they just did 2 events. I think. So Russians went on bars, and they did okay, but
Their best performer was Semenova. She has a
Semenova,
16-3.
correct, which was high. I think she had a 7.2 start value at going into this World Championships, and I think Romania also started off on uneven bars with Sandra Izbasha, who fell on her double front.
Mm.
Then they had some other young lady who I really don't know. And she did a good bar routine. She just didn't have a high start value. And then they ended with
Nistor?
Nistor, who had a high start value, and I think she scored like a 15.9 or something like that.
Nistor was the top qualifier on beam. She had like I think she had like the 16-1. Which is just so funny because I think her
Never,
highest score at the Olympics was like a 15-2.
never did a beam routine internationally that good again. Um,
Even
so
though she
going
won
after,
she did win a beam medal, I think, at either those worlds or 2007.
I
One
think
of
she
them.
was, I think she was in third in the all around at this world. Um,
Right. No, she won an all-around medal too, but her beam final routine was not terrible. Was not so bad either.
so then we go because I'm not doing the other 4 teams because why? So then we're
Let's just
going.
name them. Let's just name them.
Okay,
Can you name them?
can you name them?
I can try. I think it's. I think Brazil qualified in eighth. I think France qualified in seventh or something. I think GB qualified in sixth. And I think, is it possible? No, that's way too high. I was gonna say Ukraine was in fifth, but
I
that's
don't
not
think
right.
I don't think Ukraine made team finals this year.
So there's one team I'm forgetting. Who is in fifth place after Russia and ahead of GB?
Maybe Japan.
Italy.
Maybe
Italy.
it was
Italy.
Italy. It was Italy. Yeah.
And they had she wasn't reigning, but they had Ferrari in her prime or her youth.
She was the reigning world champion.
She won in 2006, right? Not 2005.
Yes. 2005 was Chelsea.
Okay, so we named those teams. We're not going to talk much about them beyond that.
At all. Not at all. So we're moving on to an even bars where China, in my opinion, I watch those routines and don't understand how they scored so low because their routines were just
It's funny though because you said you didn't watch qualifications. I watched China this morning, their qualifications. They two of their three gymnasts scored significantly higher. It was only Yang Yilin. She scored a 15.8, and I think they gave her a 16 in preliminaries.
so. Yeah, I just don't understand why. I mean, they didn't have bad routines. They didn't fall. They weren't missing handstands. I just don't understand why their routines scored so much lower.
Oh, also, they were in the first subdivision in qualification, so I think they were underscored.
Perfect. And then the Americans went, and Sean Johnson started and did a good bar routine.
Oh, wait, should
And
we just give the scores just to show that the Americans were behind? I think they got like two 15 threes and a 15.8. Does that sound right? Maybe a 15.3, 15.5.
something like a 15-3, 15-5. And I think Nastia scored like a 16 something.
No, that was the Chinese. I don't know the American scores.
Oh,
I
okay,
think
yeah.
Nastia scored a 16.2
That sounds about right.
or 16.025, one of those two. But the other two Americans couldn't keep up with the Chinese, right?
Yo.
Did Sean Johnson fall on bars? Because she
In
scored so low.
prelims, not in qualification. I mean, not in
Oh, in the team final. What did she fall on? Her dismount?
her dismount.
So she hits it in the team finals, and what did they give her?
Like a 15-3?
Oh, like a Chinese routine. Okay. And their third is Shayla Worley. Is that right?
Yes, Shayla Worley goes up next. And she does all the Tkachevs in the world. Like every Tkachev variation that you can think of, that's Shayla Worley's bar routine.
But she does them well, to her credit.
She does, but it's just a lot of them.
I had totally forgotten that she qualified. Like, I think she was like the ninth best all arounder in qualification.
Yeah, she would have made all around finals if it wasn't the two per country rule.
Right.
And she scores like another 15 something, a high 15. And then Nastia goes up and just hits one of her better bar routines with one of her better bar dismounts ever and scores like a 16 something. And the Americans are still in the lead.
Probably just because of that, like, half twist on that one ball.
Probably. Romania done messed up beam. They didn't fall. They just had a lot of wobbles on all of their beam routines and scored significantly lower than they're capable of. And Russia went up there and they did the best beam routines of their lives. And you just thought you saw the writing in the wall. We just thought it was going to be the America, China, Russia, Romania, right? It was going to be in that order in some way, shape, or form.
Which broadcast were you watching?
I saw them all.
Did you really saw all of them?
Over the years, like watching it live, it was the internet one that I have on Twitter.
The WCSN
Yes, that's
with
awesome.
Bart and Tasha.
Correct.
I was disappointed that broadcast didn't have Chung Fei's beam from team final. Do you know if any of them do?
I haven't seen one that played her beam. I didn't even know Chung Fei did beam in team finals.
She got a 15.85, and in qualifications, she had a really interesting routine. She basically had no wobbles, like nailed these landings so confidently, except she fell on her acro series, her flip flop, full twisting backflip,
Mm-hmm.
and then she was still doing. I think it was the last time she did her um, flip, flick, triple twist with beautiful leg form, but she takes a big hop back because she over rotated it, and she still gets a 15.35 or something.
Okay.
It was really good for how they were scoring those routines, especially in the first subdivision.
And one of the things you have to remember at this cutoff point is a fall was worth minus 0.08, whereas now it's worth a whole point off. And even though 8 tenths of a point seemed like a lot, it just wasn't enough because people still were scoring way too high
Hmm.
with falls that broke connections, and people were scoring way too high. So we go to Beam for the.
I wouldn't be mad if they called that the Chung Fei rule, because you also have her vault final, her at the Olympics.
I technically call it the Vanessa Ferrari rule because everybody was so mad that
Mm.
Vanessa Ferrari fell in the all-around finals, yet still was the all-around champion.
Okay, that complicates it.
So we go to the Americans. We're going to start with the Americans on beam. We start off with Alicia Sacramone, who does a great beam routine. I want you all to go back and watch that beam routine because y'all think Alicia Sacramone sucks on beam because of 08. Go back and watch that beam routine. It was, again, one of her better ones, and Mama ate that shit down. Then we come to Nastia, who had a beautiful beam routine going. A beautiful beam routine going. But then she does her round off, and her foot slipped on the beginning of her round off. So, like, not the round, not like how most people foot slip when they're landing the back end of the round off part. No, Nastia's foot slipped on the beginning of the round off part, which threw her off, and she only ended up doing a back tuck dismount
And not sticking it.
and not sticking it, but still scoring like a 15-3. And then
Maybe
here
not,
comes Sean.
maybe not quite so high, but yes, a 15.
Then Sean Johnson comes up, and Sean falls on her famous backhand spring, back layout, which this is the only time I've ever seen Sean fall, have any kind of balance check on that skill.
Did what did she fall on in the in the event final? She fell twice, right? Was it her full twisting backflip?
Her back tuck full, yes. Can you hear me?
Now I can. And then what was the second fall? Didn't she fall twice?
It was her split leap, layout, step out, back pipe.
Mmm. Thank you.
And I thought it was over for the Americans. How do you fall? How do you come back from both of your best gymnasts falling on beam? But then China went on beam, and they did not fall. It's just they just weren't
China
getting,
put up a 48 on beam.
and yet they still was behind the Americans after 3 rotations. And I keep rewatching this because I can't figure out how.
Um, Yeah, I'm surprised to hear that's true. I would have thought that China was in the lead. Are you sure?
I don't think China ever led that competition.
That's surprising.
So then we go to the fourth rotation, and then NBC. If you watch the NBC coverage, so it's gonna make it seem like
Like, ooh, wait. Imagine if China had been able to put up those two, you say two not, they had two Nastia Lukins or three Nastia Lukins in Beijing. But here
no.
they
I think
had
you're right.
two
They had
16s on beam. So putting those bars and beam together, we never saw China at their peak. Really.
no.
What do you think I'm right about? Sorry.
I think China had two Nastias and a Chelsea in the
Oh,
open.
yes.
So wait, I do think I am lying. I do think China was in the lead after three rotations. And what happened is the first Chinese girl fell on her double pipe dismount.
They put up Li Shan, their beam specialist, on floor in a team final at Worlds. I was upset.
They had nobody. Like floor was their absolutely weakest event. And she fell on her double pipe. And then the other girl, she did a great beam of floor routine. It's just her start value was lower. She was doing way more difficulty in Beijing than she did at this world. And then Chung Fei, of course, Chung Fei went up and slayed the house down and scored like a 15-4 and change. But then the Americans went up and they started off with who? Shayla Worley of all people. Shayla Worley did three events at this World Team Final. She did bars, she did beam and floor. And she had a really decent floor exercise routine, starting off with a front layout, double twist in front. Second tumbling pass was the most cowboyed Arabian double front I ever saw. Y'all give Nastia a lot of credit for her handspring double front. I mean, give Nastia a lot of grief for her handspring double front. Have y'all ever seen Shayla Worley's Arabian double front? My God, that was like a that was truly a straddled position. Like
Yes, she had the lowest score on floor for her team, and Jiang Yuan and Cheng Fei outscored her as well. Jiang Yuan put up a 15.025, and Li Shanshan put up a 13.825. Shayla put up a 14.625, and then you had
then
Sean
we
and
go
Alicia.
then we go to Sean Johnson, who ate. She just ate. It was my favorite Sean Johnson floor exercise routine. I love that floor music. But watching those routines, I can now understand why people hate the American choreography because trust me, it was just posing. All of them. There was not an American routine that was not just posing, moving into the next part of the routine. It's the music really skews your judgment because the Americans can afford great music to make the routines feel like if you ever watch Alicia Sacramone's routine, in my mind, I'm like, wow, it was the pinnacle of gymnastics, like great choreography, great tumbling. Watch that routine again. You'd be like, oh, she really just stood there and went from pass to pass. Like, oh.
She really did a leap, stopped, and did another leap.
That's exactly what I mean. That was everybody. That was Sean Johnson. That was Alicia. That was Chelsea Milmo. That was just if you go back and watch that quarter point. Now they had to do 5 tumbling passes or 4 tumbling passes in the side leap pass or something like that. So I can understand why. It's just bringing it down to 4 was a smart decision. Hell, and I'm down to bring it down to 3 passes. To be honest with you. So Sean Johnson, Oscar, are you there still, friend? Okay. So Alicia went. I mean, not Alicia.
Sorry, I'm here.
Alicia Sacramone was the anchor and did, again, one of her better flow routines of her life. And the Americans won. Team China came in second place. Now, something that I haven't talked about was the vault rotation of the last place team.
Wait, what about the gap?
Hello? I think Oscar froze.
Hello?
Yes?
I said, sorry if I froze. I was talking about how could China have caught the USA? And they qualified 4 points behind the USA. And in the final, it was 9.5 tenths was the difference.
I think Chung Fei's vault, if she would have stood her vault up, she would have scored like a 16. And some.
Which would have been the difference.
And they need to explain why China got so low on uneven bars. But I don't think China. Watching that team competition, I'm just gonna be honest. I think China won.
The USA won every event except for balance beam. They were the 4th best team on beam.
But they failed. And see, that's, again, the old code of points. Those falls was only worth 0.08. They weren't taking away. Because look at Nastia's dismount. She didn't do a dismount, so she shouldn't have gotten credit for a dismount. She should have gotten a deduction for not doing a D dismount and not having a dismount and bailing on a dismount. Technically, she did not fall.
Is it a deduction, or is it just she doesn't receive the requirement, the half a point?
She doesn't receive that half a point, which is,
a deduction.
Which is a deduction, and she should be getting a deduction for form in the air. She never stuck the landing. She should also.
No, it was diva attitude. It was way too casual.
Plus, not only should she be getting the not the requirement, but she should also be missing a D from her routine.
Again, not a technical deduction, but yeah.
Not a technical deduction, but
it will result in a lower score.
With all of that adding up, what's Nastia Matt?
She's still getting a 15.175, higher than Sean.
Yeah, I mean, and then Sean, yes, she failed, but she should still get credit for the acrobatic series. She still should get credit for doing the skill, whereas Nastia shouldn't have any credit for the skill at all. There's just no way Nastia should be able to score that high at this world. Like China,
it was so unserious, and Bart and Tasha were really surprised. They were taken back.
I think she should have scored at least a point less than what she actually scored. Like, if she scored a 15-1, she should have scored like a 14-1.
Well, they were saying she was going to get a 16-1.
Yeah, because it wasn't a fall. She shouldn't have gotten credit for a dismount, which was 0.5 off of the routine. She should be missing a D skill from her routine, which is another 0.4 off of the start value. Off of the base, score.
There you go. That's like a 16.
I guess.
Well, she did win the beam this year. It was her second beam title at Worlds.
It just feels like and now it would be she didn't do a dismount. She didn't get credit for the dismount. She would get a deduction for the attempt and missing of the skill. It would just be so deducted that score would be like a 13 something.
Guess what they gave her? Do you remember her routine from the all around?
Where she fell on her acro series.
Yeah, but I feel like my memory says the rest of the routine was fine. So what? That would be like an interesting comparison, like a clean routine with a dismount, but with a fall. An otherwise clean, not a clean routine. What? Yeah. Do you have a guess?
If she scored a 15-1 in team finals, I would guess a 14-7 because they didn't give her credit for the acro series.
That's really close. 14.575.
So now you want to take away her acrobatic series, but when she blocks on the dismount, you gonna give her all the credit. Like, girl, that's so unserious.
Well, she gets that acro series requirement, and she's still. And there's no like requirement to do a dismount. It's to, I guess in that quote, it was to do a D plus dismount.
No, a dismount was the requirement was you had to do a D dismount.
Right.
Now there's no dismount requirement. It's a bonus for doing a difficult dismount, but back in the day, it was a dismount requirement that you had to dismount with a D or better.
So why don't we see gymnasts just like hopping off the beam when they're done?
I mean, what do you think a gainer layout is?
Like literally not even doing a skill because you packed it all in. There's no requirement to do a dismount apparently. Or maybe
I
there
think
is. I
I
should read
think
the
that
code.
I think you have to do something that is of value. Like a
Like a
lot of people,
standing back tuck.
I think you could do it if you got your start value in every other part. But most people use the dismount. Like if you have to do a dismount, you might as well make the most out of it.
That would be so cute if they started, one gymnast started getting it named after them. The standing fall in. Like no round off. Or the
Oh, I wonder if that.
standing.
But like, I always wonder. I want somebody to do a handspring before the Prudhanova dismount off a beam to see if they would give it the G credit that it deserves.
The Prudhanova dismount. I thought that they. No, I thought it's rated an F already. The double front tucked.
Yeah, but I want somebody to do it with a handspring in front of it.
Why would. Okay, so you think that it would give it a tenth of bonus and it would be
I
equivalent to a G?
because their reasoning now for giving the double front without a handspring in front of it a F compared to a G is because they say it's easier because there's no setup skill beforehand. You're just jumping off the end of the beam. So I wonder.
Oh.
So I
There
wonder if
was a Soviet gymnast who did it in like the 80s.
so I wonder if they would take that same logic. Like if somebody just stood at the end of the beam and did a double tuck, I wonder if they would give it a C instead of a D because she didn't do a round off double tuck or a back handspring double tuck.
Oh yeah, I don't think it would be as hard, but you could get it named after you. that it wouldn't be valued the same. Exactly what you're saying. Unfortunately, but that's like the same thing with why are the Sukaharas or not the Sukaharas the Lopez? Why is the Lopez not as hard as the DTY?
Look, I'm so sorry. Like I just this is like every time I go back into the go back to old gymnastics and watch the vaulting and how like at one point in time I think in '96 after the '90s I think the '96 vaulting quota points was correct.
Did it make sense for a moment?
It made sense, but then they went into the '97 through 2000 quota points where they was too aggressive in what they thought the girls was going to be able to do. Like they thought all the girls was going to be able to do soup doubles and um make up vaults that were worth tens. Like I can't even think of that many vaults that was already being performed that was worth a 10 under that quota point. Like girls was doing your Chinko doubles, but they were worth 9.9s. And see, and then I thought
But
about that
isn't
when I
that
was
the quad where you had the Zamo and the Prudnova and the Amanar and the Lopez?
but they had to create those vaults. That's what I'm saying. Like
Oh, what are you talking about? Vaults
there
that
was
already
no
existed?
vault, there was no vaults that already existed that the people were already doing that was worth a 10. That's
In
how
96?
in 92, I'm sorry, 97 to 2000.
But all those vaults, that's why all those vaults happened, right?
But again, I'm saying, Fred,
Sorry, I must be missing the point.
you are. What I'm saying is there was no vaults that people were already doing that was worth a 10. Like people had to create new vaults to get a 10.0 start value. That's ridiculous.
Okay. The DTY was no longer a 10.
No. And the girls wasn't even doing DTYs like that. Like only like 4 or 5 girls in the whole world could do a DTY. So how was the DTY not worth the 10?
Well, what was the DTY was a 9.9?
Yes. And if you
And
go
what
back to
about the 1.5? A 9.9
they
also?
devalue no, they devalue that bitch to a 9.7. I mean a 9.8. And that's the vault that everybody was just learning in '96.
Oh my, I thought of another one, the Macintosh. They made that up because of the
Yeah, Tasha.
lack of 10.0
Yeah,
vaults.
she made that up in '99.
Trudy. What about
Like the handspring
how did
layout front
how
half.
did people regard that North Korean gymnast doing the Prudnova attempt at the Moscow Olympics in 1980? Did
I have
people
no
remember
idea.
that?
No, no, no.
No. No, no, no.
But it's just crazy that there was just
There was not a single 10.0 ball. The Sukahara 1.5 twist?
people start doing 10.0 9. The tuck Rudy that was incredibly hard under that quota points 9.9.
I can't think of anyone who did that then.
A couple of people had the tuck
I can
Rudy.
only think of one gymnast who did it. Can you name them for me,
It
please?
was his Hungarian gymnast who had it, who had the best tuck Rudy of all time. Um,
Mm.
it was this Russian girl. She did it
Oh,
at
I
the
think there was a Czech girl. Yeah, there was she was like blonde in Sydney.
something like that. Yeah, It was a couple of people who had the tuck Rudies, but that's why Horkina had to invent the Horkina because even the tuck Rudy was only worth a 9.9, so she had to do a round off arm for it to be worth a 10.
Oh, that's
The
disgusting.
Sukahara, the,
Also, wasn't the
the
Rudy
Sukahara,
that quad? Or technically the next quad? When did they name it after Chusa?
the next quad.
But we had the birth of it with Adler.
Yeah,
And was it a 10 when she did it in that quad?
she was the only American girl to even attempt a 10.0 vault that whole quad.
Of all of those vaults that we just talked about that are 10s that were made in that quad, do you think you could say which was the first? The
The
Almanar
first,
was the last.
the Amanar definitely was the last. The first was the Rudy. Vanessa Adler was the very first person that I saw in that code of points with the 10.0 vault. Yes.
The year was
99?
late into the code.
That's what
They
I'm
went.
saying.
It was just lackadaisical the first 2 years. No world
Nobody
championships, no stakes.
nobody had a 10.0 vault. No.
And then everyone came out in 1999 and 2000. That was like 7 vaults that are still used somewhat, varying levels.
There are, but those vaults under that in those 4 years, it's not like everybody was doing those vaults. Like you can literally had one person. You had two Zamalochikinas. You had one Amanar. You did have three people who learned the Lopez, and the one
No,
person.
totally. I meant that nowadays some of them are used. So
Oh yeah. Most people in 90. See, in the, okay, let me because we got stuck in that quad, but then we go to the next quad, which was '04. And if you think the girls hadn't learned those vaults in the quad beforehand, they devalued those vaults again. So just when you thought those vaults was going to be worth the 10 again, no. Now that your Chinko double,
wait, I lost you. I can't hear you. No.
can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Oh. So your Chinko double is now worth a 9.8, or your Chinko 1.5 is worth a 9.7. A Rudy that just got that wasn't even named is worth a 9.9. The Horkina is worth a 9.9. The Lopez is now worth a 9.8. The only vault in that quad that was worth a 10 was a Amanar. That was it. No, it was one other vault. It was one other vault that was worth a 10. It was like a
The Prudenova.
the that wasn't it. Oh yeah, that was around. Fuck. Yeah, that was worth a 10, but I don't think nobody even attempted that vault under that quad. No.
What about the Macintosh?
That was worth a 9.8.
What was the front layout with the half turn valued in 97?
9.9.
And the next quad?
9.7.
The Corkina?
9.9.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So the other 10.0 vault, it was this. I think it was North Korea or South Korean gymnast. She did.
Yes.
She did a round off on a full turn on to the horse and a full turn off of the horse, and that was That was the only other vault other than the Prudhanova and the Almanar that was worth a 10.0 under that quarter point. And
Well,
nowadays it would be called a Rudy.
how amazing is that ball that they gave that a 10? They were like, this is the only one that gets a 10.
And nowadays they would just call it a Rudy. I mean, Chong.
I
Because
wouldn't. It might get credited as a Chong.
if you don't think that's what damn Michaela Skinner was doing, that's exactly what Michaela Skinner was doing.
When Gabby Douglas got credited for a Chong,
Yeah, that was crazy.
it was similar.
So basically, all I'm saying is, ever since '96, they just keep fucking up the damn vault quarter points because the girls, it's like, look, okay, if my Yurchenko double is going to just be a 9.2, it's just going to be a 9.2, bitch, because I'm not doing nothing harder than the Yurchenko double twist. And the judges just keep devaluing me, and this is the first quarter points where the judges was like, you know what? Maybe let's just keep everything the same with vault. And
Which
still,
which code? You mean when they went to the
now,
open code?
no, I'm talking about
Oh,
this code,
now. Were you
2025.
were you unhappy with the vault part of the code in in 2006 when the open scorings began?
No, because again, it was the first. The only thing I like about that code was vault because I think they had it right. I don't think the Yurchenko 1.5 should be a whole half a tenth point less than the Yurchenko double. It's not that much easier of a vault. It is still a blind land in, and you still have to do 1.5 twists, which is still not easy. Um, is it easier than the Yurchenko double? Yes. Is it that much easier? No. I think it being a 9.55, I mean, a 5.5, where the Yurchenko double was a 5.8 was correct. Um, Clearly, I think the Amanar Chung's was correct. I think the Rudy was correct. Yeah, I just think they had it correct under that quarter points with Vault. It's just
Wasn't the Chung rated a tenth less than the Amanar?
that was the Rio. That on in that code it was the same 5.65.
And the Rudy was 6.5 or 6.3?
6.3.
And the Corkina?
I think it was worth a 5.9.
And the Tucked Rudy?
I think it was worth a 5.3. Under that quarter points, they really didn't like those tuck vaults. They wanted you to be laid out.
What about the Zamo?
It was worth a 6.0.
And the Prudhanova was a 7?
Yes.
That's so funny because they were teammates. Like, okay, we both got our vaults named after each other. Mine is a point harder than yours. Yeah, that's cute.
I mean, it was it is. It's still. I still think I agree with this whole online debate that the Prudhanova should be worth the same as the Bios. I think it's as hard of a vault as the Bios.
Wait, the Bios is higher?
The Bios under this quarter point was worth a 6.4. I think the Prudhanova was only worth a 6.0. Maybe a 6.2.
Sorry, I'm chewing, but I'm in disbelief because that feels really wrong. I think the forward bots should be valued
more.
just as hard, if not more.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But you guys, I made it to the hour and 30-minute mark, and I'm tapped out. But Oscar just gave his gay deep breath, so I feel like he has something else to talk about. Go ahead.
Mm-mm. No, but we could talk. I could mention that. No, I don't have anything. But I did talk about mentioning Russia officially submitting an application to have gymnasts compete as like neutral athletes, not representing Russia in 2025, hopefully for
Do you
them.
do you think anybody should be awarded that opportunity?
Um, I don't know that I know enough to judge that criteria that's been given. But if I could make the criteria myself, I would allow them to send a team.
A full team, not just individuals?
um, Probably not. But there's not even a team competition this year.
But I'm just saying, if they when they apply to go to 2026 Worlds as a neutral team, you allow them to do that?
No, as a neutral team, no. They're allowed to fill the quota. So they should send three, no, they should send now four. They can potentially send four individual WAGs. Maybe their punishment should be no MAGs are allowed to go.
What if you think Melnikova should be allowed to go?
If she deserves the spot, yeah. One of those four
Lispanova?
spots. The same thing for any of the gymnasts. Do you want me to choose who I think should be on the four?
No, because I don't understand, because I think one of the things that they're going to do is, were you ever involved in part of the Russia propaganda? And if you were, then you can't get the spots. And it's just like, well, all of
Right.
y'all were involved in the damn Russian propaganda, so none of y'all are technically could get the spot. Maybe it's going to be some
Mm-hmm.
like brand new junior who we've never heard of before, but
I didn't even think of that. That's so smart. Someone they've
I don't.
literally sheltered, but also doesn't, I guess. See, that's just part of why I said I don't feel like I know enough to talk much about it. But
Yeah, it's
yeah,
like,
maybe I thought that it had to do with the the actual gym that they train at and its affiliation to the military as one of
I
the
think that's
criteria for being able to compete as a neutral athlete.
correct, and I also think one of the criteria is that you can't be used as a part of propaganda, like for your country. And I think they all have been part of them taking down Ukraine parades and war campaign ads and so on and so forth. So,
Yeah, I
especially
just don't
listen,
know what the criteria is. It's
yeah, I don't
totally possible it's changed. Because why would they do this now and not before?
don't know, don't know.
I mean, it's a different situation, but I don't know why. It's not an Olympics. That was an Olympics. They've had another year. I don't know the answer. I'm curious. Sound off in the comments, please.
Please. And with that being said, you guys, I'm going to end the show for today. This was a really good show. Please come back on Saturday when we give the full show with me, Oscar, Shayna, and Ezra, who said he's gonna have his NCAA preview ready by Saturday. We'll
Oh,
see if
that's so
that happens.
exciting.
We'll see if that happens. We'll see. Yeah, that's
Did
fine.
you
I'm
want
putting
to
first. Go
did you
ahead.
want to answer your own question? Do you think that Russia should be able to send any gymnasts?
No,
Not as neutral.
no.
Okay.
Not until the military backs up off of Ukraine.
I'm just curious.
No, just answer the question.
Oh, okay. Did Beth Tweddle not
Bridget, you killing it with these interviews. Bridget Salone just had Jay Clark. Now she has Cecile Landy this week.
did you see Alexis's comment about Beth Tweddle not making lineups for the team final at Worlds, but competing in event finals? Do you know what happened?
Yes, the British team decided to pull Beth because she was a little bit hurt in this World Championship, and she did not have the best of qualifications and did not make bars finals, but she did make floor finals. So they decided to just basically rest her because they knew they weren't going to win a medal with the damn team. So they decided to rest her and use her in the all around and floor finals.
Mm. Almost like a Shannon Miller, but Shannon didn't do event finals.
Very similar, but um, in hindsight, it sounds fucked up, but GB knew their business. They knew they wasn't for the win. Why like let Beth rest, bro? Let Beth rest. Speaking
And
of rest, go ahead.
oh no, it was the wrong year. Well, anyway, I thought she was the world champion that year, but that was the previous year.
Yeah, she didn't make bars finally. She fucked up in qualification, but she did do bars in team finals though.
Wait, she didn't make the all-around final? Oh, she did.
She
And
did make all around.
so when did she not do bars?
She might have just did bars in team finals. She
No,
didn't do
she
the other
didn't.
three.
She didn't do anything in team final.
Maybe she just did bars in the all around. Maybe that's the bar routine I'm thinking of.
No, she did the all-around, and she came in. Um, she came in 11th, but I think she qualified quite high, and she also was fourth in the bars final. She qualified in the
So she
all-arounds
did make. So she
in
did make.
fourth place.
Oh, it was he who did not make bars finals in 2007.
Who's
Cause
that?
from China. No,
No, she
that
wasn't
was.
on the team.
I know that was 2011. Maybe I'm thinking of 2011 for best two. Yeah, I am. I'm thinking of 2011. I'm so sorry, everybody. Because neither one of them made bars finals, and then Victoria Kovova was the world champion that year.
Do you think she would have gotten a nice bronze medal if they were there?
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Especially in 2011, that was best routine.
She did the full twisting double back, right?
Yeah. But anyways, people are for tuning in to this bonus episode. Please tune in on Saturday when we do our regular episode, like always. I love you all. Mwah. Bye.
Have a
And
great
don't forget
week.
at Gymnastics Saves Lives.
Bye.
Bye.